how many people here have experience working with, hands-on, the fence-mounted sensor micronet? Quite a few. How many of y'all have worked with our buried cable system microtrack? What about our microwave motion sensors? How many of y'all have actually put your hands on and worked with our microwave motion sensors? Okay, about the same group. It looks like about the same group have put their hands on everything and worked with everything. All right, so just a quickly review of who Southwest Microwave is. We were established in 1971. We are one of the world's largest suppliers of outdoor perimeter intrusion detection sensors. Essentially, we make 3 products really, really, really well. We're the best at fence-mounted sensors, buried cable sensors, and microwave motion technology. So we have developed the alarm monitoring and control sensors, and then we've got all the other parts and pieces that connect to that, some auxiliary motion sensors, and then our buried microwave and fence-mounted sensor micronet. So we do provide some services in-house. We can do system designs. We can provide you with drawings. We can do technical notes, product profiles. If you all have questions about what is a part or piece of any of these systems, you can reach out to us directly and ask. We can send you documents that say, this is what our power supply is, here's the schematic for it, and this is the cut sheet with all the data up and down, left and right associated with that for each of our parts and pieces. So I just wanted to put that out there. Our team does put together drawings and designs. Here's some examples of that. We can show how to put the systems on the fence, what types of fencing you've got, where the boxes go, make recommendations for all those sorts of things. So if you have any questions on any of that, these are just some examples of what we can provide. Our sensors are tested at -40 to +70 C. So we have a hot weather test site in Arizona. We've got a cold weather test site in Canada. So we do very hot testing, we do very cold testing. We have blizzards, we have ice buildup on the sensors, and we also have 120-degree days with blowing dust storms. So the sensors are put through extreme temperature testing. And if you're experiencing issues in any of those types of environments, or like in the winter, if you're experiencing specific issues during that winter time, we'd like to know. We want to be aware of what's happening with the sensors in the field, and it may just be a setting, or it may be a bigger issue. So the more we know, the more we can help you out. Like I said, our multiple test sites. Believe it or not, our test site in the UK is actually a really wet environment. It's almost tropical over there where our test site is. The ground is soaking wet, the boxes are always wet, there's humidity inside, always droplets of water inside the enclosures. So we do get a broad range of testing for the sensors. We do manage training in the field, as you all have experienced, and in-house. So if you ever get a chance to come to Phoenix, Arizona, or specifically Tempe, I'd recommend coming in like anywhere between October to May. That's when it's really nice. It's when it's horrible here, really nice there. So come visit when it's nice outside. We have a website. Our website is www.southwestmicrowave.com. Go to that website. Look on that website under the training tab. There are training videos. You can see these videos here. These videos talk about calibration of our fence sensor. They talk about landing the sensor on the sensor cable onto the circuit boards. Talk about grease. Talk about splicing and repairing the systems. So these videos can be very helpful. If you have new guys come on board, someone who hasn't had any experience with it at all, you can tell them to go watch the videos and then go do work. Pretty handy stuff on there. So I wanted to put that out there as one of the resources. Check this out. We also have 3 webinars available. You can review these webinars. They're also, I don't know if we put these on our website or not, but these are recorded. You'll unfortunately have to listen to me drone on and on and on about sensors. You're going to hear a lot about the same what you did today in those. But these webinars talk about specific applications of the products and why we would put a sensor in one place or another. Okay? So if you all have questions, you want to learn a little bit, this is one good resource. Another good resource is the Midchest website. Their website has tons and tons of videos that guy right over there put together. All right, so just to go over what makes a sensor intelligent, because we talk about our sensors being intelligent detection technologies. What makes a sensor intelligent versus just a sensor is first and foremost the ability to calibrate to your existing fence. Our fence-mounted sensor will calibrate on a 3-foot by 3-foot section. We call these cells. A cell is 1.1 meters in length. When you calibrate, you're dragging a metal object across the fence and it vibrates that fence. Our sensors intelligently respond to that vibration. They calibrate themselves to every segment of fence around the entire perimeter. So if you have one section of fence that's tight, and maybe the next section is very loose, moving around in the wind. If you have one section that's chain link, and then maybe it goes up on a razor coil to go up and over a building, or up and over around an opening. Or like a sally port area, where there's lots of support and very big, heavy posts at the corners. Those sections of fence are very, very taut. They don't move very much. An intelligence sensor should be able to tell the difference between each of those sections of fence and then accommodate those differences. So that's first and foremost. Secondly, our sensors are able to determine the difference between a distributed event, like wind, rain, maybe ice shedding off a fence after an ice storm, and then be able to determine what's distributed versus what's pinpoint. So it's impossible to climb a fence by jumping on it over here, going to middle point over there, and then going over there. When you climb a fence, you go up and over. Or you cut the ties along the bottom, you lift that fabric, and you go under. It's in a very specific area. With our systems, we can determine the difference between something that's widespread and that's very specific. So those are some of the key items that make a sensor intelligent versus not. Many of the other products in the marketplace determine their zones based on hardware. You have a processor and a cable, and that cable is the zone. Or you'll have little small shaker boxes on each panel, and those shaker boxes are what determines what the zone is. And you have multiple events. I'll say 2 or 3 events within a certain time within the zone before an alarm is generated. Intelligence sensors are able to break that up and say not just 2 or 3 events within a zone, but 2 or 3 events on a fence panel before an alarm is generated. So that's a pretty big deal. I don't know if y'all have any experience with other types of sensors or not, but show of hands, who's worked with anything besides our sensors? Okay, so y'all understand what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. All right, we covered a little bit of that. Our INTREPID product line covers some digital microwaves, some fence-mounted sensors, some buried sensors. They all work together. All of our sensors integrate. So if you're concerned or questioning whether, well, we want to use a fence sensor here and a digital microwave there, and this area over here could be buried cable, yeah, they all work together. They all integrate and communicate on the same platform. All of our sensors also use the same power, 10.5 to 60 volts DC. So if you're looking at any of the digital microwaves, any of the buried or fence-mounted sensor, all of that is 10.5 to 60 volts DC. If you've got raw power around your perimeter, you can tap into that for any of these new sensors. Our old microwaves, the analog microwaves, the Model 310, Model 300, I'm sure those of y'all have familiar with those. Those are 12-volt microwaves. So the Model 310 is 12 volts at like about 160 milliamps or so. The Model 300B is 12 volts at about 10.5 to 60 milliamps. So really, really, really low voltage. But all of our digital microwaves, the newest line, 10.5 to 60 volts DC, they can all run on the same common power bus.